You're listening to Interviews, the podcast that cracks the entrepreneurship code. I'm your host, Laurent Autin. I'm an entrepreneur, coach to entrepreneurs, and startup mentor with more than 20 years' experience running companies and advising entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur is the most difficult job there is. There are no practical guidelines. So join me every week and learn how you can better navigate your entrepreneurship journey and become an exceptional entrepreneur. This is episode 17 of my special series, The Entrepreneur Alphabet. I created this series so you can understand what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur and therefore make sure you stop being the bottleneck in your business. I share practical A to Z insights across 26 short episodes. Yes, you guessed it right, 26 like the number of letters in the alphabet. Today we cover the letter Q for questions. But first, make sure to subscribe to my podcast so you never miss any new episode of this special series, as well as interviews cracking the entrepreneurship code. Entrepreneurship is a tough journey. So I dedicate my time to help entrepreneurs do their job better, which basically means to focus on what matters most and stop being the bottleneck in their business. The discussions I've had with my entrepreneur podcast guests, as well as 20 years of working in business management, has taught me the importance of having a sound business strategy. 2/3 of my career was spent in the market research industry. And it has provided me with one efficient tool to get you where you want to be, and that is asking questions. Successful entrepreneurs understand their weaknesses and acknowledge they don't know everything, but they know that with the right questions comes the right answers. So this episode core's message revolves around one key question, of course, which is, are you asking the right questions? It's time for a short announcement. Over the years, I've learned 3 critical things about entrepreneurship. 1, being an entrepreneur is a calling. 2, entrepreneurship is a mindset. And 3, the biggest risk you face as an entrepreneur is becoming the bottleneck in your business. When you're the bottleneck, you're stuck. And when you're stuck, your business is stuck. So if it happens, you need to A, work on your mindset and make sure it's back into the right place. And B, implement specific tactics to get unstuck. In my new ebook, I share 8 of those tactics which will help you unlock situations and strive as an entrepreneur. Watch out, it's not just another ebook. It's based on hundreds of conversations with entrepreneurs on my podcast with my clients and peers. It contains 8,055 words over 38 pages. Each tactic comes with a set of practical tips or exercises so you can immediately apply the tactic into your business. Grab your copy of my free ebook, 8 Tactics to Strive as an Entrepreneur, on my website. You will find the link in the show notes. And now let's go back to the episode. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine if I ask you the question, did you like the commercial for brand X? Your answer is limited. You can either say yes or no. What if I ask it in a more open-ended style like, how does the commercial for brand X make you feel? Not only have I opened up the range of possible answers, but this question will actually force you to think about your feelings for the commercial for brand X. Then by analyzing your answers, I can determine whether you like brand X or not and why. What works with market research also works with how we think. Often we get stuck in a situation because we are not asking ourselves the questions that lead to the right answers. See it for yourself. Which question is better? A. what is success? Or B, what is success for me? If you answer B, you are right. Defining success in general is very difficult. There are so many criteria. What success represents for me may well be different than what it is for you. Hence, answering the question, what is success for me, is more relevant than question A, what is success? Let me provide you with 4 practical steps to help you think clearly and ask the right questions in any situation. Step 1, control your emotions. Finding clarity is not easy when you are overwhelmed. Making the right choice with money on the line or choosing to fire somebody is a difficult situation. Before you act, you need to realize that you won't be able to think properly if you don't control your emotions. You need to develop your emotional intelligence skills. Business owners often have their heads stuck so much into day-to-day operations, where decisions are plenty and need to happen fast, that they are drawn into it like they would be drowning into water, and they forget to come back to the surface and breathe. That's when they are the bottleneck in their businesses. These situations have a direct impact on your mood, and before you know it, emotions have submerged you. Emotions trump your clarity, blur your judgment. Emotions create stories in your heads and entrap you. Emotions make you react too fast, ask the wrong questions, hence make the wrong decisions. Emotions block your listening ability. What's the point of asking the right questions if you don't listen to the answers? So it is crucial that you hit the pause button and give yourself some space to clear up your mind in these moments. You need to find a way to lower your heart rate, take a breath, and make that extra effort to really think through the situation rationally. Step 2. Start with your why. Clearing your mind will enable you to focus on the right things, and then you can ask the right questions. But the first question that you should ask yourself or others is, why? Too often we forget what our real purpose is, and instead we start formulating objectives and goals and somehow try to make them happen. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you want to take your car for a ride. What's the first question that usually comes to you? No, it's not why. It's where, as in where am I going? The thing is that you would not know your destination if you had not thought about the reasons why you're taking your car first. Going to the grocery store because your fridge is empty is different than going out because you have a date. Entrepreneurs crave for impact. Listen to my podcast interviews, Cracking the Entrepreneurship Code, and you realize that most successful business owners have a clear why, a purpose. Therefore, the first question to always ask yourself and others is not what do I want, but why? Why am I doing the things that I am doing? Why did I start my business? Why did I get into this market? And why am I willing to keep growing as an entrepreneur? Step 3. Only keep the must-have questions. I mentioned earlier that the right questions give us the right answers. Asking questions is a skill, and like any skill, it must be practiced. You need to adapt your questions to your current context. Some questions may not work today and could prove more insightful for a different situation. For instance, would you rather ask yourself the question, how do I know if my business is successful? Or, where would I like to see my business in 10 years? The most insightful questions will force you to look at a situation from a different perspective. You know what we call thinking out of the box. Now, how do you write an insightful question? Well, you can follow those 4 rules. Rule number 1, use open-ended questions as opposed to closed-ended. In other words, do not use questions with a static response, because a simple yes or no doesn't always give us the perspective we are looking for. Rule number 2, be clear about your purpose. Coming back to the why in step 2. Determining quarterly goals, looking at ways to overcome a financial setback, or rebudgeting for the year is not the same. After you have clearly stated your purpose, only ask questions that are relevant to it. Rule number 3, constantly test and edit your questions. Try them out with people and analyze their reactions. Understand what questions work best in what context. Save the ones that push you and others the most out of your comfort zone. Rule number 4, eliminate every other questions, period. Only then you will get the must-have questions. Step 4, use the funnel approach. One last thing remains to be done, sequencing your questions. The best way to approach it is to think about a funnel. It's wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. It is used for guiding a large amount of liquid into a small opening, from big to small, from broad to specific. Now let's apply this method to your questions. Imagine that they go down the funnel. You would start with your broadest question, then go to more detail while descending the funnel and finish with the most specific question at the bottom. For instance, as you know, start with the purpose. Why am I doing this? Is it necessary? From here, I could think in terms of decision. How can I make the best decision to achieve this goal? Then if I want to make the right decision, I need the right information. Hence, my next question will be, what information do I need to collect in order to make the right decision? Once I have determined the information to be collected, maybe I need to know where I can get such information. I would simply ask, where can I get that information? Whom can I talk to? Finally comes action. Scheduling in my calendar a time to act. When can I follow through? When am I going to get the information? By sequencing my questions using the funnel approach, I can create a step-by-step plan of action that answers all of the most important questions and help me to achieve whatever goal I aim for. Using these 4 steps will improve your ability to ask critical questions, and that is a superpower in the world of entrepreneurship. Remember, step 1, control your emotions. Step 2, start with your why. Step 3, only keep the must-have questions. And step 4, use the funnel approach. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love to hear what your key takeouts were. Send your comments by email to contact@laurentautin.com. In the meantime, remember, stop being the bottleneck in your business. See you next time. Bye for now.